Welcome everybody to the West Street Podcast. I'm Matt Taylor, your host, and
I'm Ben McMullen, the
comic relief.
The comic relief, that's a strong word for what I'm going to bring, but anyway. And this is episode 1 of our West Street Podcast, I think we've decided it's called now.
Yeah.
This is also take 3
I did say
of
welcome
our
to
intro.
the West Street Podcast.
Yeah, but this is episode 1, so in case you didn't hear the first time, this is episode 1, so we get to be really rough around the edges.
Yeah, very true. We won't be that bad because I'm feeling fresh. Brush my teeth, just like I do for every podcast apparently now. So, shall we get into it? Or
Yeah, let's make a start.
if we can ever get this thing uploaded.
It's taken us a fair few tries.
One day, this might get through. I think someone on iTunes has to, kind of deem if this is
No
good.
way
This
does
is
some poor soul have to listen to
Yeah,
this.
so someone's job might actually... I think that's how it works. If you upload to iTunes, someone has to kind of scour through just to make
Could you
sure
imagine
it's-
the absolute state of some of the podcasts they have to listen to?
I bet...
They have to listen to shit like us.
Well, if you listen to this, we've made it through the cut. We clearly haven't said anything too out of order. Or...
Oh my god, I just saw the sound waves for me laughing. That's ridiculous. My laugh has just peaked everything.
We'll have to edit that out. Yeah, so, right, let's get into the news. This is how we usually start things.
Usually.
Once we establish the status quo, as I've said, then, we'll get guests and emails and a fan base.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for the old fans getting on us for
Yeah, I
not
think
releasing
if
a
we ever
podcast on time.
If we ever get merchandise.
Oh, sweet stash.
Yeah, that would be nice. But okay, we'll see how it goes. Right, so the biggest news I've had this week is the fact that Mugabe has finally been kicked out of Zimbabwe, which is just...
Well, this was news to you on
this
more than
baffled,
one level, wasn't
This
it?
baffled me because I saw it and I thought, I swear you went before Gaddafi. Which, it's a strange one, but I wasn't really following it. You seem to know a lot more about it, so,
I mean, I found it, he's 93, so, yeah, he's 93, and he's still a dictator. That is impressive longevity. Like, he's been a dictator since they gained independence, while it was still Rhodesia. It's
mental fact.
some impressive longevity the man's
It's like a
had.
Mandela level of...
Yeah, exactly.
Legend status in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Infamous.
And he was deposed by the army, but they are refusing to call it a coup because they haven't installed a government instead.
Right,
Although-
so because the
Yeah.
army don't currently control it, and
It's
is
not
gonna be
technically a
right.
coup. They've just kicked the government out, but they haven't put their government in. Which means it's
Unbelievable.
not a coup.
Unbelievable.
This
loophole.
is legalese to the max, which I'm a big fan of. The technicalities. It's not technically a coup.
Yeah, because after all that country's been through, they can afford a few
They
technicalities.
do, they
if
can be
they
technicalities.
want them.
What was it? I saw something that someone was saying. I mean, it may not technically be a coup, but when you turn on the TV one day and there's a man in an army uniform telling you that there's not a coup but not a government, it kind of feels a bit like a coup.
Yeah.
Apparently Mugabe was found with like a 200 billion Zimbabwean dollar note in his wallet. But that's worth like a loaf of bread, and he had like $100 stashed in a secret pocket somewhere on him.
Is his face on every note?
I think so. Barson has a Zimbabwean dollar. Or he has like a 1 billion Zimbabwean dollar or something.
Because that's worth about 10
Yeah.
pounds or...
It was worth like an AP. I'm googling a Zimbabwean dollar now. I want to see what a Zimbabwean dollar looks like. There's some stones on it. There's a 1 trillion Zimbabwean dollar. A 100 trillion note is worth 40 cents.
Wow.
100 trillion.
It's a crazy, just
Could you imagine?
scheme of currency. Because
100 trillion. No, they've got rocks. They have rocks on their dollars. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
There's
that's literally
3
just
rocks.
stones, yeah.
There's just...
So for anyone who doesn't know...
Well, those rocks are worth
Zimbabwean-
more than their dollars as well.
Oh yeah, because they
Those-
good rocks.
Well, mate, just a rock is worth more than 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars at this point.
Yeah, because 40, I mean,
40
I've
cents.
never bought a rock personally, but
I think I've probably bought a rock.
gemstone.
That and travelling story. I met a guy once. It was while I was working at the bar. This guy comes in, and he's like fucking piss take. He just bought. He thought he was getting some weed off a dealer. Guy literally bought a rock. like a greenish coloured rock. Bought it from the dealer for like $70 or $80 US, and just came down and we were playing pool, and he was just like, this is ridiculous. At least he had a laugh about it. Made it like a rock, carried it with him everywhere he went.
3
after that.
days living.
Yeah, 3 days, that is a lot of living. I gave him a free beer after that as well. I was like, you know what, you've had a hard enough day, you can have a beer on the house, because like, can you imagine buying a rock instead of weed?
Right. So in other news, I mean, we don't really want to talk about all the sexual harassment gate in Hollywood because it's just worth a whole episode on its own. So
Yeah.
I think we'll leave that for now. I think there's a lot more to come from that as well.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
I feel like just the fact that like every time I like hit up Twitter, it seems to be there's a new accusation against someone.
You know, there's 40 people that have come out of the Royal London Company or something like that about Kevin Spacey. 40
Really?
people. Yeah.
40?
I swear I saw something like that.
Jesus.
Which is
That's
just
mad.
mental, yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to point the microphone towards you because you're quieter than me.
Oh, I do mumble, yeah.
Yeah, you do your Burton mumble.
Actually, but yeah.
Oh yeah, have you heard about the serial killer on the loose in Tampa, Florida?
No, I haven't heard about the serial killer loose in Tampa Bay, Florida.
As if we haven't discussed this before. Yeah, so apparently there is a suspected serial killer out.
Is it the Zodiac killer? Or was he
No.
cool?
No, it's not. I don't know what the Zodiac killer was actually. Oh no, I do know what the Zodiac killer. Oh no, I don't want to say now. It's going to ruin the segue.
Yes, sorry.
Ruins the segue. God damn it! God damn it! So yeah, apparently there's been a spate of shootings in Tampa, Florida, 4 so far.
Do you know?
Of people that have all been killed, and they've all been killed in the same way.
So what is the call sign of the killer? Or?
Someone's just walked up behind them and shot them point blank in the back of the head.
So every time?
Yeah.
On the street?
In the same area.
Really?
Yeah.
Like kind of zip code? Or
Early morning, people are on their own. It's apparently it does seem, the only thing that's different is that apparently serial killers generally like to know the people that they murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy doesn't.
Okay. Bit more of an arbitrary style, you know.
Yeah.
It makes them hard to catch, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Oh fucking hell! They've got a picture of the guy. I mean, that's not helpful whatsoever. It's just. A
wow,
man.
that is literally like.
It's absolutely useless.
Almost like a ghost. It's on CNN as well,
Yeah.
so that could be like.
Yeah, so apparently they find it's like it fits serial killer behaviour apart from the fact that the serial killer doesn't know the victims.
Yeah. So are there any other distinguishing marks for them? Because I watched the new episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine this morning, and one of the serial killers. I mean, obviously, serial killer's not a joke, but he left a tea bag in the guy's mouth, which
so
is like, and that was his like the Joker leaves Joker card.
Yeah.
But it's not well. This is real life, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so look, they've all happened. If you see on
the
map,
it's kind of like
if you
a
look
square.
at the map, they've all happened within like 3 or 4 blocks of each other as well.
Yeah.
It says that they've all happened early morning or late at night when people are on their own. It's just, it seems to be, it just fits the pattern. But it's very weird because doing it within that small an area, you're really, and in that smaller time period, it's only been like a couple of months. You'd think would make them easier to catch.
Yeah, but on the subject of serial killers, takes us right onto our main bulk of the podcast, very smoothly, I must say.
Absolutely flawless transition there.
What have we been watching this week, Ben?
We've been binging Mindhunter.
The brand new Netflix series. Well, brand new. I say brand new, but we only found out about it.
For a while, but we find out for.
We're late for the curve, but yeah, and well, we knocked that out in about 2 days, 10 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
A very intense watch, especially don't watch it at night either.
Yeah, or on your own.
There's like, spoiler alert, there's no real jump scares.
No.
But it just feels like there should be.
Yeah. That bit of the final episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
so intense.
Okay, this is quite cagey so
very
far.
Spoiler heavy.
So if you don't want to know anything about Mindhunter,
just
don't listen to this.
Don't listen to
There's
this.
There's better podcasts out here.
Apparently.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can talk about we can talk about the synopsis first.
Yeah.
Like the general outline.
Yeah.
Do you want to go for it,
I'll go for it. I'll take this one. It's based on the memoirs of an FBI agent called, who I can't find
Robert E. Lee?
No.
John E. Douglas.
John E. Douglas, there you go.
Completely caught that one. Sorry,
Yeah, Robert
sorry,
E.
John.
Lee,
John Douglas.
The Confederate General Robert E. Lee also was an FBI special agent.
Oh god,
He was not, for reference. Anyone listening, this is an eyebrows-free podcast.
Well, you see, I was thinking that because the main character's name, so John E. Douglas, John L. Douglas, John E. Douglas.
John E. Douglas.
The memoirs, like the title character, the protagonist, is named Holden Ford, which is just so overtly American that it's just kind of laughing in your face. Like Holden is the main guy in Catcher in the Rye, and Henry Ford is, you know, founder of modern founder when just a general bastard to workers in the early 20th century.
Every time I hear Henry Ford, I just think of Ford Prefect from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Really?
Yeah, because he tried to choose the most generic name that he possibly could, so he chose Ford Prefect.
Ford Prefect, that is... Yeah. Oh, crikey.
I mean, we could go on a tangent about just how good
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is. Yeah, I haven't watched that in years.
Oh, that could be one of our intermediate films.
Very good. Nice bit of sci-fi for a nice Thursday morning.
And
so Holden Ford's a weird bloke. Let's cut back to the start.
He's an FBI special agent and has a degree in psychology.
Yeah.
Which I think most FBI special agents do have.
Or at least some kind of decent major, in something, in a hard science.
So, and it turns out he's like obsessed with serial killers. Not obsessed, but like interested. I think it starts off. It does start off.
Yeah, it's definite.
Right.
And he kind of gets carried away with it as it goes on, which is quite interesting to see, because if you're in that line of work, it's kind of the effects of just talking to absolute nutcases all day.
And it's just all you live.
Yeah, it's just...
You don't get into any...
You just get fascinated by it.
You can't escape it.
You see that as well in the interactions with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because even she's a she's studying sociology or psychology or whatever it was. Mm. But she understands, if anyone can understand that, and she still kind of goes off the rail with him.
Yeah. But they're not even called serial... What's interesting is they're not called serial killers at this point either. They're called sequence killers, because serial killers doesn't exist as a phrase yet. And
what I remember you saying to me is that, so as soon as this is revealed, they're in an office, they're all discussing how what to call this, and you kind of said to me, I thought they were just dancing around serial killers by calling them sequence killers, just I don't know, for some kind of dramatic effect. But the fact that they coined serial killers, and I looked this up, they did do it in about the 70s, which is when this is.
Well, it's based on the real guy's memoir, so I have a feeling that maybe that's probably a very real...
No, I researched the etymology. It is from them. It's only like the phrase is 40 years old.
Jesus, that's so weird.
Which is crazy, because like Jack the Ripper, he's 1800s.
Yeah, it's just an embedded phrase that we just haven't used.
So it starts out, and he's just a teacher, Holden.
Yeah, he's an instructor, so he was a negotiator, wasn't he? That's how it starts, the first episode.
He teaches people to negotiate.
And that's where he gets so then he starts wanting to analyse people's, like, the mindset of people
Psyche,
he ends up having to negotiate with, which I think is fair enough, right?
Yeah, because you want to... He's kind of a preventative method, that's what he's looking for, because eventually they do start to kind of catch serial killers.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't start off with the serial killers, though. He just wants to join the behavioural science unit, which is run by this other guy called Ed...
Yeah, and he's Bill Tench.
That's
a geezer.
And that's he's a geezer, but he's a guy that goes around the country.
Big gruff guy.
Yeah, he goes around the country and sort of educates
police officers,
policemen on what the FBI know as more like overarching themes with sequence killers and just sort of like big name criminals, which you don't encounter that often, but when you do, it's still those small police forces are at the front of the whole thing before the FBI get there.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing as well, because it's a new thing, like they kind of stumble. There's like the second episode, which is supposed to be slow, but I still quite enjoyed.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't know where you heard that from, but they're probably wrong. And they're not. Yeah, there you go. Well, don't believe everything's on Reddit. But, it's interesting to see how they stumble early on, because they go into this police officer. Is it in LA? In a place that's dealt with.
Oh, it was.
And he just.
No, it wasn't. It was in the Midwest, but the guy had transferred from LA.
That was it.
And he'd had to deal with.
It was another big killer, wasn't it?
Charles Manson?
Charles Manson, yeah.
Charles
Because
Manson.
this is post Charles Manson, because we were discussing that. We thought that the guy at the start of every episode,
Yeah.
who isn't Charles Manson, we just assumed it was, because he was the only serial killer we heard of until we watched this.
Yeah, Charles Manson. So there is at the beginning of each episode, there's kind of a little clip of a serial killer.
Very sinister.
What we assume is a serial killer doing serial killery type things, but not actually killing people, but like scoping out houses and going to work and cooking and.
Okay.
The guy
the Kentucky. Is he from Kentucky?
That was the one, I think.
Yeah, I remember that now.
But he was caught. He was known as the BTK Strangler.
Ah, yeah.
The bind, torture, kill.
Yeah. And that's why. Yeah.
Which is just scary in itself. We found we watched it when. Oh my god! It was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or a Monday.
Yeah.
And I came back and there was no one in the house around.
Just free.
So I was like, oh, I'll put on this Mindhunter on the TV in the kitchen, and was like, I'll put that on and just watch one episode and see what it's like. And you came and sat down and joined me.
It was just.
We were up until 2:00 in the morning.
It was because it's got
just more people just joining in from the house.
It was like funny. Just people got stuck to it because it's just so slow burning and like the intensity is just amazing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It was so good because it's very rare that you can get like a group of us to sit relatively quietly and not say anything.
Yeah.
And you genuinely were getting we would sit there for an entire hour-long episode and barely say anything.
Yeah.
And it was really, it reminded me a little bit of No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Because that's intense and slow burning as well. And I don't know if you know, but in No Country for Old Men there's no music.
Yeah. No.
Behind, and in Mindhunter they use it very, very sparingly.
Yeah.
Which means there are moments of really intense silence, or when something happens there'll be no music and you just hear the music of what's going on in the scene, which really makes it feel more intense.
It's exactly the same as basically any kind of physical comedy scene without music. It has to be really fucking good without the music to actually be effective in the same way that tension is built up. But
it was so good the way it was so slow burning as well, because we would sit there and just
want more after every episode.
We want to figure out where it's going. And so good.
Can you imagine watching that and waiting for each episode every week? So waiting on a Sunday or something.
We wouldn't be able to do that.
Thank God for the binge culture.
Yeah, right. Netflix are what they're doing when they release stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the ridiculous 6, I mean, I think they've grown a bit from there.
Yeah. That was. I just love the fact that it was so. They didn't fire a single shot. There was no car chases. There was no action scenes at all. There was that time where we were wondering whether or not they were going to catch the serial killer.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes where they stumble into a serial killer that's only one kill in or something.
Yeah.
And they identify a pattern, but we were sitting there and we're thinking, but it's based on real life. But at the same time, does it matter that it's going to work now? Really well done.
Yeah. But on counterpoint to that, there was a bit that I feel like the slow burning doesn't work, or I don't know, it didn't have a very satisfying payoff. There's no payoff to the cat bit. So there's a woman who helps out in the department. She's very good. She's an esteemed doctor from the Midwest.
No,
who flies up.
She's on the East Coast.
East Coast, and she flies to the FBI.
Yeah,
wherever it is. I assume Washington.
I think so as well.
Or New York. It's still in that upper.
Yeah.
And she flies up, leaves her partner, and lives alone. And she's very good. I liked her. She was good. But there's a bit where she'll go down to the kind of the laundrette in her building, which is just weird enough because you think about all the times dead bodies are left in the clothes dryer or whatever in films, and you think, oh no, this can't be good. And she goes down with a glass of wine, and you think damsel in distress, and she's looking at this kind of vent or basement or cellar, whatever it is.
I think it's like a window.
Yeah.
Out. So in our basement we've got that window that goes out. I think it's one of those really.
And you don't know where it goes to.
That just sort of leads out of the apartment.
Yeah.
Looks out and adds a bit of air vent because that's their washing place.
And you can hear something down there, and it's supposedly a cat, and we think it is a cat eventually. Spoiler alert. But she leaves tuna there each time, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And there's just no payoff. It's just a cat. You expect a serial killer to be down there. I know it's based on real life, but it's just it was a weird use of the time in this like kind
Yeah.
of series. It just didn't seem to have any kind of effect on me anyway, personally.
Yeah,
We
no,
both
you're
agreed
right.
on that though.
We were all both like, we just felt it was like we were expecting something from it, and I mean there's still another season that will be released. It won't be till next year,
No.
but we were expecting some kind of payoff from it, and there was just nothing.
Yeah.
It was just, she left the tin down there, and like sometimes it was eaten and sometimes it wasn't. That's it. Like it didn't feel like it made any sense.
Yeah.
And it just had nothing to do with the storyline.
I mean, credit to it for hooking us in, because we were kind of like,
Fucking hell,
that
we
was
were
the main
obsessed
thing.
with
Like,
that.
you've got this incredible narrative going on, and then we're still focusing on this cat eating the
We're
tuna.
wondering what the hell's going to happen with the cat.
Just because they're kind of playing with us and using these old tropes from
Yeah.
horror films where we've been trained to kind of expect a jump there.
Yeah, you're right. That was something where either they misjudged it or
Well, like, maybe they just had to fill time, and they just thought, you know what, let's just add some tension.
I don't know. Yeah, just
It made me more tense. If I'm watching that at night, it just added,
Yeah.
like, put me more on edge than I was originally. See, throughout it as well, you kept giving me, you're in my ear about this kind of shallow depth of focus shots that they kept using.
Yeah. Yes.
Just
so
explain that.
one of the really interesting things I found with Mindhunter was it was shot with a really shallow depth of field, which means that like when they focus on something in the shot, everything else around it is very, very blurry, which is to do with like how wide the technical aspects are, like to do with how wide the shutter is and things when you're taking the video.
Someone's got a camera.
Yeah.
Ah.
I'm just gonna cough as well because I'm dying.
And it just lets us know to edit that area.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what it does is the guy who really likes, whoever directed it, really likes car scenes, and he likes sort of intimate conversation pieces as it is. And by using that shallow depth of focus, what happens is you see he pulled the focus between two people talking. That's where I noticed it the most in a car. So what you'd have one face would be sharply in focus, and everything else, the background, the rest of the car, the other person
Outside
in
the car.
Yeah, outside the car, everything is totally blurry. You can't tell what's going on. And then the conversation changes, someone else is talking, as in the other person in the car is talking.
Yeah.
And then the camera refocuses on the person that's now talking. But again, everything else in the shot is really blurry and out of focus. And I thought it was such an interesting way to film it, because I think it helps grasp up the tension, because it draws you in a lot more. It's like it's a very intimate way of filming.
There's good chemistry between those two actors as well.
I think
like,
so, yeah.
They're kind of both. It's an awkward thing that the two characters shouldn't really kind of blend well, but they do kind of have a bit of fun with it, and like it was well casted. There's credit to that, especially when they're travelling a lot. So it makes sense to use that kind of the intimate setting.
And he does it. He does it quite a lot in most of the things. Like you'll see quite a lot of the shots. That I notice even when he's taking the shots, he likes small. Whoever directs it, whose name you should know, because I'm talking about him as a he. But he likes small kind of areas to shoot in. So the prison, the offices, the prison cells, the car. Like he doesn't shoot in big wide open scenes that often. Yeah. They're always very in houses, in rooms. They're very confined.
Very dark
and
as well.
They're very dark, and they're quite.
There's never natural light.
Yeah.
That's the
sure,
that's kind of
the basement area where they work is all fluorescent lighting.
Because it's a new kind of frowned upon area of the CIA. They are kind of confined to the basement. Also, it's good just seeing at the start how the FBI's kind of perspective was just to use their gun. As he's educating these negotiators. Yeah. They kind of just instantly go, I'd shoot first.
Yeah. Which I think is a very pervasive thing in all of American police culture at the moment.
Still now.
Anyway. Yeah. But it was interesting as well, as they were saying that they feel that it's safer for them to use a gun. They don't have to get close, they don't have to talk, they have to draw out the situation.
Which is tiny bit valid, just because of who they're dealing with, but in another way, no, because they should have that kind of, as kind of the best of the best, it should be a last resort.
Yeah, you'd think, right?
But the psyche of it, that's just...
Well, I think one of the things actually that, and I think you see that playing into now, and at the moment, the culture in America within the police,
shooting at questions later.
They're under attack. They feel like they're under attack.
Yeah.
They're told it's us against them, and they see these videos of the criminals have guns and everyone could have a gun and your life is in danger every time you go to work, which makes them trigger happy and gun happy, and it makes them feel like they're under attack, so they're much more likely to be violent. Whereas if they go into a situation they don't expect violence, they're much more likely to like have a conversation and try a problem to have.
Also, everyone in America wasn't allowed a gun.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier. Yeah. That's why we tend to negotiate down with terrorists over here.
You just, well, you can negotiate with like, but it's their thing is even petty criminals can have guns on them, whereas here it's just so much less likely. I got a text that someone is drunk 1:30 on a Friday. Definitely drunk. Gareth, you're getting a call out on the podcast.
You better be listening. If this gets through the edits.
Yeah, he's just hit me in it with a mate as well, which means that there's a part 2 coming to this, and I just...
Turn your phone over, finish the podcast.
Is it a relationship issue? I don't know, we're going to find out.
Find out next week. It's a good reason to stick around. On Gareth.
Oh my god, we could leave them on a cliffhanger, so they have to like us. They have to listen back. They'll be like, oh, it's a shit podcast, but I really don't want to know what happened. So I'm going to listen to the whole thing again.
It's how they get you. So just going back to your shallow depth of focus, kind of.
Yeah, my moment where I sounded smart.
Going back to that, yeah, you sound like you do film studies. But going back to that, you said you expected that to always... It puts you on edge just because you expect a car crash every time that happens.
Yeah.
And then we did get a car crash.
Yeah.
And you kind of gave him that kind of satisfied smirk.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and I was saying every time, because the way they were filming it is, I don't know if it's cliche in films, is that they'll film an inside car seat, and you'll see they'll be talking and you'll see the background. And you'll be like, oh yeah, no, I know what's coming because they're going to get T-boned at an intersection by a truck or something. But I said it like a couple of episodes in, and nothing happens for a couple of episodes, and we relaxed and stopped going, oh, there's going to be a car
It's just
crash.
the nature of the show, isn't it?
Exactly.
They're a road trip in it about,
basically. That's how it's filmed, fair enough. And then there is a fucking car crash.
I suppose was that what the director intended?
Maybe.
Is it, or does he? I don't think people are as pedantic as you. I don't know.
No,
if you binge it,
so.
like.
I don't know if people were paying it that much attention.
Like as a conventional Netflix binger, I had my Ben and Jerry's. I wasn't really my suspension of disbelief was on.
What a word.
And I had my ice cream. I was fine, and I just didn't think about any of that. But then you, pedantic as well, you were saying that, and I thought, oh god, yeah, no, someone's definitely gonna get T-boned here, and then it did, yeah. Yeah.
But then the other interesting thing is because this is all based on real memoirs. I don't know if that means it's got a much more...
Yeah, did it have any... It didn't have much of an impact on the rest of it though, did it? Unless that kind of...
No. But then I wonder if that's because it's based on his memoirs, and it's the point of the book.
Yeah.
So in his memoirs he's writing about it and he's saying, oh, I remember that time when we got hit at Junction. Yeah. And he lost his shit or something.
Yeah, because he did.
Because he was really uptight and tense or something.
Yeah.
And he flashed his badge around and was like, I'm the police, we're going to arrest you. So I think... In a conventional TV show, they wouldn't put that in because it doesn't make that much of a difference. But in the actual real life memoirs, it does, so that's why they include it, I think.
Well, it's a downward arc of him as well, as he kind of loses his mind.
Yeah.
Not loses his mind, but by the end of it, he's like the last episode, last kind of scenes, he's crawling through a mental hospital. Kind of.
My God, that last 15 minutes?
Yeah, that big serial killer is just that was very
Edward
scary.
Kemper is
it's very intimidating.
So well played.
Very level-headed.
Yeah.
But then equally, he was huge, and he just said.
You didn't think he was gonna. You thought he was done, serial killery.
Yeah.
Like because the whole point is this Edward Kemper guy is really talkative and loves the attention. They stop giving him attention when they find other serial killers they want to talk to.
And he attempts to kill
So he slits his wrists and puts the FBI agent down as his special, as his like emergency contact, whatever. But then threatens the FBI agent and corners him. The guy's fucking like handcuffed to a bed, and he still manages to pin the FBI agent in a corner. And genuinely, like you're sitting there like, is he gonna get choked out?
Yeah.
Like.
Well, we didn't know what happened. We only googled it afterwards because we were so hungry for it. He was kind of hungry for more, wasn't it? Like you kind of, it's based on a true story. You've not got anything else left to kind of munch down, digest. Sure. So you look where we can. And we did find some interesting stuff.
Yeah, we were reading all about serial killers. We went on a little bit of an internet Wikipedia binge afterwards as well. But it was that,
It was about 2 in the morning.
The way it was, yeah, my God, we did it in a week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did 10 hours of binging in a week.
Solid kind of.
On top of like going out and having uni sometimes. Neither of us were on reading weeks.
No.
Reading weeks?
No, reading weeks.
Reading weeks.
Weeks.
We went on our reading weeks at that point. We literally just. I don't think we even sacked anything off for it. We just genuinely just found shit.
I probably did.
Stuff.
Just in the nature.
You sacked a lot of stuff
We
off.
sacked a lot of stuff off.
Oh, that's a shot. Oh, if this was a video podcast, you'd get a standing ovation.
Wouldn't be a podcast, would it? It'd be like a.
Anyone listening at home?
Be a vlog?
Matt just threw. Yeah, I guess it would be a vlog. No, because a vlog I feel is daily.
Yeah, this is not going to be daily.
This is definitely not.
This
going to be
is
daily.
the weekly West Street.
Yeah. Yeah, but for anyone listening at home, Matt just nailed a pretty decent throw.
Over your head as well.
One end of my room to the other.
What?
I like how we're just doing it around the corner of my bed as well. Like it's just.
Don't ruin the room.
We're in the
We could be anywhere.
Is that it?
We could put any soundtrack behind it, and we could be anywhere. So moving on, we'll get to our third and final segment of the podcast.
Final, depending on how the rest of this goes.
If you haven't noticed already, through the half an hour or so I was talking, we're not from the same parts of the country.
No, I'm from the beautiful, wonderful, well-funded and not inbred South.
And I'm from the north. So, we present to you the North-South divide.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which may or may not be a consistent thing, depending on how many debates there are.
Yeah,
There's a lot, but
there's a fair number. This could either get very heated, or this could literally just be like a shrug and acknowledgement of two differing opinions on something. We're going to kick off this week with a pretty controversial one, I think. This one gets a lot of airtime in the house, because even the other Southerners and I differ on this. So we're going to be talking about the difference between dinner and tea, which I'm sure is just as riveting as it sounds for all of you listening at home.
So what's dinner to you, Ben?
Dinner is the evening meal that I eat at like 7:30, 8 in the evening.
Dinner is lunch. So.
No.
Yeah.
No. This is gonna be a thing. So what is lunch to you?
Lunch?
Well then what's but then dinner's lunch.
Wait, either. I don't know. Dinner's just that kind of random word that can mean any meal. It's quite more of a versatile word. Tea is tea. Tea's what you have when...
No, tea's what you drink.
No, tea's what
Tea's
someone
what you
makes
drink,
you
or
when you come
afternoon
back
tea,
from something.
which is fucking
Oh,
cakes and
posh twat. Just, oh.
No, you're just totally backwards on this. I'm sorry, but
Right.
tea is... This is going to be
So you ask your mum what's for dinner? You don't
Yeah.
come in...
I don't say what's for tea.
Go.
She'd look at me funny if I said what's for tea. I mean, she looks at me funny anyway.
Yeah, right, so we've reached an impasse. And
Yeah. Dinner is dinner and tea is wrong. And I'm glad we've reached an agreement on that. He's shaking his head. Oh, he's walking out of the room. He's stormed out. Oh no. Oh dear. Looks like we're gonna have a solo podcast for the rest of the evening.
That didn't slam like...
It didn't slam.
Really have
The door didn't slam as dramatically as Matt wanted it to. So he's back though. And I guess we'll just end the North-South divide segment there, I think, because that's an easy one to start off with. I'm sure Corbs, when she inevitably listens to this, will have her opinion on it.
She's from the Midlands, though.
Yeah, which is a third, really.
Yeah, because
North-South Midlands.
I feel like they... Well, I'm also from the Midlands, so...
Yeah, this is true. You're just north of the M25.
It's more of a it's more of a thing, like, it depends who you're asking. But if you're asking your mum...
Yeah.
Tea.
No,
I don't
it's
drink
not.
tea, so I have no problem with differentiating it. It's just rusty water at the end of the day. But so I think that's where we'll brew us to a close.
Yeah, I think that's a nice natural point for us to end at.
If you've got here, thank you a lot for listening. I've been Matt Taylor.
I've been Ben McMullen.
And you can get to us at the weststreetpod@gmail.com.
And if you don't, we'll guess you'll hear us next time.
Next time.
I nearly said next week there, but next time.
Watch this space.
See you soon.